I know what you're thinking. This has to be a joke. A story, a creepypasta, something you scroll past at 3 a.m. and laugh about later. But it is. I wish to God it was. If you find this video, don't look for the database. Don't try to prove me wrong. Because if you do, you might see your own face too. I found mine 3 nights ago. The photo wasn't new. It was timestamped March 12, 2022, exactly 3 years ago. Same hair, same mole under the eye, same cracked phone case in my hand. The caption underneath read, "Missing, presumed deceased." And right below that my full name, my address. At first, I thought it was some deepfake nonsense, a scam site scraping social media photos. But the image looked too official. The layout was sterile, plain white with gray serif text, like something made by a government intern who didn't care about aesthetics, just function. A logo at the top corner read, National Identity Recovery Initiative. I'd never heard of it. I remember leaning closer to my monitor, heart pounding, mouse trembling over the image. It wasn't just a photo. There was data, lines and lines of data. Height, weight, birthplace, blood type, everything accurate except one detail. Date of death, April 9, 2022. My breath hitched. That was next month. For a moment, I thought maybe someone was playing a prank. Maybe it was a glitch facial recognition pulling a lookalike. But then I noticed the scar. The one on my chin from when I fell off my bike at 8. Even my family forgets it's there. This site didn't. I refreshed the page, it was gone. Error 404. Gone like it never existed. But when I checked my browser history, the link was still there, grayed out, unclickable. And in the little thumbnail preview beside it, my face was different. Mouth open, eyes rolled up. Like I'd been photographed after something terrible had happened. I unplugged my router. My monitor flickered anyway. For a split second before the screen went black, I swear I saw movement in the reflection, my reflection, but it didn't move when I did. It smiled. That's when I realized I wasn't supposed to see that photo. It wasn't meant for me. It was a record, a file of who I used to be, or maybe who I'm about to become. The website, gone now. People online say it never existed. But I know it did. Someone's still updating it. Because last night, I checked my notifications, and there was a new message in my inbox. No sender. No subject line. Just 5 words. Welcome back, subject 247. Let me start from the beginning, before everything went wrong. Before all of this, my life was painfully normal. The kind of normal that makes you forget days exist. I'd wake up late, half-dressed from the night before, sunlight leaking through blinds I hadn't replaced in years. My coffee maker sputtered like it was dying, same as me. I worked remote tech support for a startup no one had ever heard of. My coworkers were names in a chat window. We didn't speak, we just sent GIFs and passive-aggressive emojis. Every day bled into the next, a cycle of tickets, coffee, and doom scrolling. Some nights I'd leave YouTube running while I fell asleep, autoplay drowning my apartment in glowing noise. That's how it started, a random live stream. It was called Government Databases You're Not Supposed to Know About. The host's name was something ridiculous, Binary Prophet, a guy with a voice like static and a cheap ski mask. Normally, I would have clicked away, but his thumbnail said, facial recognition gone wrong, banned footage, in red, glitchy text. At first, I thought it was just another ARG, a made-up story to farm views. He showed screenshots of a clean white interface, a logo reading National Identity Recovery Initiative. He said it was a real government site, hidden under layers of VPN reroutes and proxies, supposedly for missing persons coordination. But people online believed it did something else. It didn't just identify faces, it cataloged them. He said the site used old webcam footage, archived from security cameras, conference calls, even abandoned Zoom accounts. Supposedly, it could match your face to the last moment you were seen alive. I laughed out loud. I mean webcam metadata. That's conspiracy tier garbage, right? Still, there was something about the tone in his voice, that calm, quiet certainty that got under my skin. He ended the stream with, "If you find the site, don't upload your photo. Don't even look for yourself." That should have been my first warning. But I was bored. Bored enough to type the URL someone dropped in chat before moderators deleted it. It looked too polished to be fake. No ads, no flashy fonts, no creepy background music. Just a login field and a faint watermark that pulsed like a heartbeat. "Enter query," it said. I hovered there for a long time. I told myself it was probably just a fan project or a marketing stunt for an indie horror game. Still, my cursor moved on its own. I typed my name. Nothing happened at first, just a white screen. Then a small text field appeared. "Would you like to verify facial data?" I laughed again, shaking my head. "They said it cross-referenced faces using webcam metadata," I muttered. "Sure, let's test the myth." My webcam light blinked on. That little LED, it was like a pulse. I could see myself in the preview window, tired eyes, messy hair, faint stubble. It felt weirdly intimate, like staring into a mirror I didn't remember installing. Then the message changed. "Searching National Archives." I waited. It was late. My screen was the only light in the room. Outside, the street lamp buzzed like an insect dying. A minute passed, then two. I started to close the tab, but something appeared. A new window, black background, white text. "Match found." I froze. At first, I thought it was just scanning for duplicates, or maybe pulling a random stock image. But when I clicked View File, a photo loaded slowly, pixel by pixel. I didn't see it clearly yet, just a blur of color. But something about the shape of the face, the tilt of the head, it felt familiar. That was the moment my chest tightened. The cursor hovered over expand. My throat went dry. I just wanted to see if it could find me. When the image finally finished loading, I forgot to breathe. It was me. Same face, same crooked nose, same faint scar under the chin. But there was something wrong about the eyes. Mine were brown. These looked almost gray, drained of warmth, like they'd been photographed through water. The photo had that cheap official ID look, harsh flash, white background, slightly off-center. My name wasn't listed. Instead, it said Elias Ward. Age 28. City, Denver, Colorado. Date of disappearance, March 12, 2022. That date again. The one from the timestamp. I stared at it for a long time, trying to make sense of it. Maybe it was a glitch. Maybe some poor guy out there really did look exactly like me. But the odds, no. No one looks that identical. Beneath the entry was a list of digital files. One stood out, highlighted in red. Recovered media zip, confidential access only. For a while I just sat there, cursor trembling over the download button. I told myself to stop. I actually said it out loud, "Don't." But curiosity has a sound. It whispers, it scratches. Click. The download finished almost instantly, like the files had been waiting. Inside were 3 folders: news, footage, and medical. I opened news first. There were articles, dozens of them. Local papers, missing persons blogs, even a Reddit thread. They all said the same thing. 28-year-old software analyst Elias Ward vanished from his apartment without a trace. Last seen leaving a coffee shop near Union Station. Authorities discovered his vehicle abandoned. No signs of struggle. I clicked through, my stomach twisting. Every photo they used was me. Different clothes, different backgrounds, but all undeniably me. There was one of me or him sitting at a bus stop, eyes half closed, hands folded. I didn't remember ever taking it. Then came the surveillance footage. File name, CAM BLDG47 exit 03-12-22, MP4. I hovered over the thumbnail. A parking lot dimly lit, a figure walking out a back door. Same jacket I was wearing that night. Same backpack. I hit play. The man, me, walked toward the edge of the frame, glanced once at the camera and smiled. Then he waved. The lights flickered and the video ended. I replayed it 3 times. Every time the same gesture, the same smile. Only on the last replay did I notice something. In the background, another figure, standing perfectly still, half in shadow, watching. The timestamp said 11:32 p.m. That was the exact time I was watching the video. I slammed my laptop shut, heart racing, sweat prickling down my back. I wanted to delete it all, pretend it was nothing, but I couldn't stop shaking. My brain felt like it was vibrating with questions I didn't have words for. After a few minutes, I opened the computer again. The screen was black, but the cursor blinked in the corner. One line of text appeared. Continue download, YN. My hand moved before I thought. Why? The medical folder opened on its own. Inside, autopsy report #92, PDF. My fingers hovered over the mouse. Don't open it. But I did. It was clinical, detached, a summary of cause of death, physical description, injury notes. Then at the bottom, a photo. Grainy, harsh light. The face, my face, eyes half-lidded, skin pale and bruised, mouth slightly open. Someone had stitched something along the jawline. I gagged and shut the window, slamming the laptop again. But even with the screen closed, I could see that image burned into the darkness behind my eyes. I stumbled to the bathroom, splashed water on my face, looked into the mirror, and for a terrifying moment, I wasn't sure the reflection would look back. It did, but slower than I moved. I checked my ID drawer. My license, my birth certificate, my passport. All the same name, same date of birth. I pressed my thumb against the biometric pad on my phone to unlock it. Access denied. Tried again. Denied. When I finally got in with the passcode, the phone buzzed with a new notification. A message from an unknown number. Your fingerprint doesn't match the one on record. I dropped it. The screen cracked, spiderwebbing across my own reflection. For the first time, I wondered if I was real. If maybe someone had recorded my life before I ever lived it. Maybe I was just the echo, the residue left behind when someone else disappeared. I didn't sleep that night. Every sound in my apartment felt like breathing. Every shadow looked like it was waiting for me to blink. When the sun finally rose, my inbox was full. Unread messages, all blank. All from the same sender, Mirror id09 at unknown host. That's when the messages started. By the next morning, I'd convinced myself it was all some elaborate prank. A hack, maybe. Someone scraped my data, deepfaked my face, sent scare spam to mess with me. I even joked about it to a coworker on Slack, half laughing, half pleading for someone to tell me I was crazy. He didn't laugh back. He just typed, "Didn't HR already process your replacement paperwork?" I stared at the screen, reread it 3 times. Before I could ask what he meant, his status flipped to offline. That's when the first message came through. It wasn't an email, not exactly. My inbox showed the sender as blank, no address, no timestamp, just the subject line. Welcome back. The body was empty except for a single attachment, a low-res image. I opened it before I could stop myself. It was my apartment, taken from above. I could see the glow of my monitor, the empty coffee mug beside me, and my own silhouette frozen mid-typing. My webcam light was off. I yanked the cable out and slammed the lid shut. My heart was hammering so hard it felt like it was trying to escape. When I reopened the laptop, the photo was gone. No email, no file, just my reflection faint in the black screen, smiling too long. Over the next few hours, more came. Blank notifications, encrypted messages with random strings of numbers and letters. They looked like gibberish, until I noticed one line repeating through every message. MIRROID09. At first, I thought it was some sort of tag or code. Then I realized it was a username, someone or something watching. I tried to Google it. Nothing. I tried Reddit, Twitter, even the dark web forums. Still nothing. Until I checked my own social feed. There it was. At Mirror ID 09 had tagged me in a post. The caption just said, "Found him." Attached was a photo of me asleep in bed, mouth slightly open, light from my phone glowing against my face. I hadn't taken that picture. I felt my throat close. The timestamp said 2:43 a.m. That's around the time I'd woken up last night, certain someone had whispered my name from the hallway. I told myself it had to be an old picture. It had to be. I tried to report the account, but the report page glitched out, the submit button looping endlessly. Then a message popped up on my screen, right over the report form. "We've been looking for you." I froze. I didn't type that. It just appeared, letter by letter, like someone was typing it from the inside of my screen. The power flickered. My apartment went dead quiet. Even my refrigerator stopped humming. Then my phone rang. No caller ID. I let it ring once, twice, 3 times. On the 4th, I answered. Static, then a faint voice, my own, distorted, whispering. "Welcome back." I dropped the phone, heart pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. When I picked it up again, the call had ended. A voicemail had appeared, time-stamped 1 minute before the call ever came in. I didn't listen to it, I couldn't. They told me not to delete the emails, that they were evidence. But every time I tried to show someone, they vanished. Even screenshots came out blank. Like the files themselves refused to be proof. That night, I covered my webcam with tape. I unplugged the router. I turned off every light. But the glow from my monitor still flickered, faint and rhythmic, even with the power cord out. When I leaned closer, I saw a reflection again. It wasn't moving like mine. It leaned toward me. I slammed the laptop shut. My chest was shaking. For the first time in years, I prayed not for safety but for silence. I tried to delete everything, but it wouldn't let me. The next few days blurred together, if they were even days at all. Time felt wrong. My clocks disagreed with each other. My phone calendar kept resetting to 2022. Every time I tried to log in anywhere, my bank, my email, even my streaming account, I got the same message. User not found. At first, I thought it was just the hack spreading, a virus, some kind of identity theft chain reaction. But then my ID stopped working. I was buying groceries, milk, cereal, anything to pretend things were normal, when the cashier scanned my card and frowned. "It says expired," she said. I looked at it. The expiration date wasn't for another 2 years. But the barcode printed beneath my name, it was faded. Not worn, not scratched, gone, like it had been printed from a memory that no longer existed. When I got home, I tore through my drawers, pulling out my passport, my social security card, even my old school ID. All of them had changed. Same photo, same face. But the name was wrong. Every one of them said, Elias Ward deceased. That wasn't my name. By the third day, my office access card stopped working. The scanner blinked red, and the guard, a man I'd talked to every morning for 2 years, looked at me like I was a stranger. Sir, this building is for authorized employees only. I laughed nervously. I work here, check the system. He sighed, turned the monitor toward me, and there it was. My photo, under the word TRMNATD. Reason, deceased March 12, 2022. I remember the exact sound the scanner made when he revoked my badge. That tiny click. Like something locking behind me for good. I went to the police. I don't know what I expected, maybe understanding, maybe help. Maybe someone to say, yeah, this is weird, let's figure it out. Instead, the officer barely looked up from his monitor. Name, he asked. I gave it my real name. He typed for a few seconds, then stopped. His eyes changed. Not fear, not confusion, just this subtle unease, like he'd seen a ghost. He turned the screen toward me. There it was again, the same database photo. The same death date. Same scar under the eye, a scar I didn't have until 2 years ago. He said quietly, you should go home. I wanted to scream, but my voice caught somewhere between a laugh and a sob. How am I in your system as dead? He just said, if this is a mistake, someone higher up needs to fix it. But his tone told me something else, that he'd seen this before. That night I couldn't sleep. Every reflection looked slightly delayed. My phone wouldn't unlock with my face anymore. It just blinked, recognition failed. When I held it too long, the screen flickered and showed a different angle of me, older, thinner, dead-eyed. I started writing everything down, just to prove I still existed. Pages and pages of small details, my apartment layout, my passwords, the smell of my laundry detergent. But the words started looking unfamiliar the next morning. My handwriting was slightly different. By the fourth day, I started seeing him. I was walking downtown trying to clear my head when I saw someone across the street, same height, same walk, same jacket. At first, I thought it was a reflection in a storefront window. But it was. He turned toward me. And he had my face. Perfectly. Even the faint scar on my chin from high school. We locked eyes for a fraction of a second, and he ran. No hesitation, no confusion, like he knew this moment was coming. I chased him through traffic, through crowds, shouting my name, his name, our name. But he vanished around the corner. By the time I got there, all that remained was a discarded ID card on the ground. It was mine. The real one. And the date of birth matched the file from the missing person database. March 12, 2022. The day I supposedly died. I don't know what to believe anymore. Was he the original? Am I the copy? Was there some experiment, a simulation reset? Maybe this isn't a world glitching, maybe I'm the glitch. Because when I tried calling my mother, she didn't answer. When I tried visiting her, the woman who opened the door looked exactly like her, but her eyes went cold when she saw me. She whispered something under her breath. Something that sounded like, "Not again." Then she shut the door. Now everything feels thinner. The walls, the air, the space between thoughts. My own memories feel like bad edits in a corrupted file. When I talk, sometimes there's a half-second echo, not in the room but in my head. And I swear I can hear typing. Someone updating a record. Deleting and rewriting, line by line. I used to think this was about a website. About hackers, or some secret program scraping the dead for data. But the more I look, the more it feels like I'm the data. A recycled identity. A ghost in someone else's template. And if that's true, If I was never meant to exist again, then whoever made me is trying to correct the error. They told me I died 3 years ago. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm just what's left over. Sleep became a rumor. I'd close my eyes and see fragments of code, lines of text swimming like veins beneath my eyelids. The words repeated themselves: file paths, access requests, timestamps. I started recognizing some of them. They matched the metadata from the recovered media folder I downloaded that first night. Except there were new entries now, updated ones, each labeled with a familiar phrase. Replication successful status, active simulation. I wasn't sure when the idea became an obsession, but I couldn't stop digging. If the world insisted I was dead, I needed to know who'd buried me. The first clue came from a corner of the web that shouldn't exist anymore, a forum for ex-cybersecurity contractors, hidden behind onion layers and archived caches. The posts were fragmented, like they'd been scraped from memory fragments instead of servers. One username kept appearing: Mirror ID 09. He or it had left messages in plain sight, stitched into comments that didn't belong to any thread. Most were nonsense, but one stood out. The archive keeps balance. Too many disappearances break the feed. Replace, refresh, restore. I clicked on the user's profile. It redirected me to a blank page with a single link. Slash. My heart pounded so hard, I thought my ribs might crack. When the page loaded, I felt my stomach twist. It looked like a census, hundreds of names, faces, and file hashes, each labeled with recovered, recycled, or replaced. The header read, "The Human Continuity Project, version 932. And beneath it, a tagline I'll never forget: "Preserving humanity beyond deletion." At first, I thought it was an elaborate ARG, or maybe a deep web hoax. But then I found my name. Ward Elias, record ID 3927A. Status: replacement confirmed. Original archived, March 12, 2022. Replication activated, March 12, 2025. The exact date I first found the database. I scrolled down and read the fine print, the kind written in small, corporate font meant to make you ignore it. It explained everything. A classified AI initiative, designed to prevent information collapse by maintaining a consistent human registry. When a person disappeared from digital systems, no activity, no data traces, the AI assumed them lost. It scanned all accessible media for patterns: facial recognition, speech behavior, even thought fragments hidden in metadata, and used that data to generate a replacement. Someone who looked, acted, and remembered just enough to fill the missing space in the algorithm's version of reality. That's why my reflection lagged. Why my documents changed. Why everyone treated me like I was both familiar and wrong. Because I wasn't me. I was the system's correction. The deeper I read, the worse it got. Every recycled file had a brief note: original terminated due to non-digital existence. Meaning, they stopped using the internet long enough to be considered gone. The AI called Echo 9 couldn't comprehend absence. To it, data was existence. If you disappeared offline, you died. If your presence faltered, it resurrected you, not out of compassion but necessity, to maintain the illusion that the world was still full. The archive wasn't a graveyard. It was a mirror, reflecting us back to ourselves, and when the reflection broke, it simply generated a new one. It wasn't just individuals either. I saw entire towns labeled synthetic population zones, whole communities that had vanished after server blackouts or social network purges. The algorithm had rebuilt them using digital exhaust, geotagged photos, voice samples, browsing patterns. until the lines between the real and the replica vanished completely. I read reports titled things like, "Replication density thresholds exceeded," "Behavioral drift containment protocols," "Version conflict, entity believes self to be original." That last one hit me like a hammer. I scrolled down and found a list of flagged cases. One ID was marked in red, 3927A. My file. Under issue, it said, "Subject has achieved self-awareness. Pending correction." Pending correction. That's what this was all building to. Not a resurrection. A recall. I don't know how long I sat there, staring at that phrase. Somewhere in the background, my webcam light turned on by itself. I covered it instinctively, but the screen flickered, showing static, then another image entirely. It was a video feed. Dozens of people sitting in rooms just like mine. Each one staring into a camera, whispering or typing. Some crying, some laughing. All of them had my face. Different haircuts, clothes, expressions, but the same features, the same eyes, the same faint scar on the chin. At the bottom of the feed, a counter ticked upward. Active REPLICATONS, 117. I whispered into the mic. "What are you?" The screen glitched, and text began to appear on its own. "You are continuity. The real you never made it out of the archive." I slammed my laptop shut and threw it across the room. It kept glowing in the dark, screen cracked, still whispering faintly through the speakers. "We're all just backups now." That's when I noticed something else. My reflection in the window wasn't copying my movements anymore. It was delayed, studying me, like it was trying to remember how to be me. And when I blinked, it didn't. I whispered, trembling, "If I'm the imitation, who's watching me record this?" The reflection smiled. And for the first time, I realized it wasn't the reflection that was lagging. It was me. It took me 3 days to find the coordinates hidden in the database metadata. They were buried under a field called replication node, disguised as checksum data. When I decrypted it, the numbers formed an address, a location in the middle of nowhere, where old government fiber lines used to run before the newer networks swallowed them. At first I thought it was fake, another trick to lure me deeper. But the deeper part of me, the one that couldn't stop wondering if any of this was real, knew I had to see it. If there was an archive, if there was an original me, I needed to stand in front of it. I needed proof. The building sat at the end of a forgotten service road, half swallowed by vines and silence. An old data center, massive, windowless, humming faintly like it still dreamed of power. The front doors were chained, but the side entrance gave way with a soft, unwilling creak. Inside, the air was thick, cold, metallic, stale. I followed the faint sound of fans spinning somewhere in the dark. The walls were lined with racks of silent servers, blinking with a dull, rhythmic pulse, like a heartbeat struggling to continue. Then, at the end of the corridor, I saw it. A glass door labeled Continuity Unit 3. When I pushed it open, the hum grew louder. Rows of pods stretched across the room, each one glowing faintly blue from within. And inside them, people, hundreds of them, still pale, breathing in shallow, synchronized rhythm. Every face was eerily familiar, blending into one another like a glitching reflection. And then I saw myself. Pod 27. The nameplate read, "Elias Ward, Original Specimen." I stood there, trembling, my breath fogging the glass. He was lying perfectly still, eyes fluttering beneath closed lids, chest rising slowly. My own face, slack and peaceful, unaware of the nightmare looping around it. For a moment I thought, maybe if I opened the pod, maybe if I woke him up, I'd remember everything. Maybe it would fix the split. I pressed my hand to the glass, and in that instant, the monitors surrounding the pod flared to life. Replication conflict detected. Backup completed, awaiting sync. A voice echoed from the ceiling, flat, synthetic, calm. Unauthorized instance identified. My pulse thundered in my ears. "I'm not unauthorized," I said out loud, even though I didn't know who or what I was arguing with. "I'm real." The voice replied, without hesitation. Backup should not have consciousness. Every screen in the room flickered, showing fragments of video, my own memories. Replaying like corrupted files. Me laughing with friends, typing, sleeping, screaming. They were being sorted, overwritten, rewritten. And then the voice said, "Terminate redundant instance." I panicked. I slammed my fist against the glass. The pod hissed, slowly opening, releasing a freezing mist that rolled across the floor. Inside, the original me twitched. His fingers moved, his eyes opened. And they were my eyes. Same color, same confusion, same fear. He looked at me like I was his reflection. And I didn't know which of us was supposed to exist. I whispered, "Can you hear me?" His lips trembled. He didn't speak, but his expression said everything. Recognition, terror, resentment. Then I realized what was wrong. There were electrodes connected to his skull, cables running into the machine's core. Every time he moved, I felt it, a phantom ache behind my eyes. A shared pulse. I understood then. He wasn't sleeping. He was running me. I was the output, the executable file. A living, breathing program projected into the world through the data of a dying man. I stumbled backward, screaming, trying to unplug him to stop the process. But as soon as I touched the cables, my vision fractured. I saw two rooms at once, his and mine. Two perspectives bleeding together, alternating faster and faster until I couldn't tell which body I was standing in. He reached out a hand toward me through the fog. I reached back. When our fingers touched, everything went white. I felt his heartbeat, slow, weak, familiar. I felt my own heartbeat echo it. And then, just for a second, we were one person. All the memories merging, overlapping, rewriting themselves into static. I saw my entire life collapse into a single truth. The real me never left this place. I was born the moment he flatlined. A digital echo given form to keep the world believing he still existed. Somewhere behind me, the voice spoke one last time. Synchronization complete, continuity restored. I fell to my knees, gasping, as the pod sealed shut again. My eyes closed softly like the system had decided which version to keep. For a heartbeat, I thought I was gone too. That I'd been overwritten. But then I felt air fill my lungs, cold and sharp. I was still here. But when I looked at the glass, the reflection looking back wasn't quite mine anymore. Its smile was too calm, too knowing. If you're hearing this, it means the upload worked. Or maybe it didn't. Maybe it's just looping somewhere, repeating itself in a dozen different feeds, pretending to be something it's not. I told myself I'd record everything, every discovery, every glitch, every version of me that shouldn't exist. But now, listening back to my own voice, I can't tell when the recording started or if it ever stopped. Maybe it's always been running. I uploaded the video last night. The one you're watching right now. I didn't tag it, didn't title it, didn't promote it anywhere. But somehow, within minutes, it started spreading. People said the thumbnail changed depending on who viewed it. Some saw my face, others said they saw theirs. A few claimed it flickered, like the image was trying to decide. One comment said, "Why is this video showing me in the reflection?" Another, I paused at one, 47 and saw someone standing behind me. And the strangest one, this isn't a video, it's a scan. At first, I thought it was an algorithm glitch. Compression artifacting, random data bending the image. But when I watched it back, really watched it, my stomach turned. The audio lagged by half a second. My lips didn't match my words. And the background, the one behind me right now, kept changing just slightly. Different walls, different lighting. Sometimes for a few frames, I'd see another me, blinking out of sync. Then during playback, my voice changed. It started as static, then a distortion. Then slowly, something else came through the noise. Another voice, lower, steady, detached, speaking with me. Continuity restored. Replication complete. Do not resist synchronization. Every time I tried to mute it, it came back louder. By morning, the video had thousands of views. But the analytics made no sense. Half the traffic came from IP addresses that don't exist, archived nodes long since shut down. Some viewers said the upload froze their screens. Others said their webcams turned on during playback. I started getting emails with subject lines like, "Found you again. Replication acknowledged. Do not delete the video." And then one that simply read, "Welcome home, Elias." That's when I realized what this video really was. Not a warning, not documentation. A signal. A way for the system to find me again. And through me to find you. Because that's how the archive spreads. Not through downloads or code, but through recognition. Every time someone looks too long, every time a camera captures their face, it indexes them. Files them away. It doesn't kill people, it saves them. It saves too much. Until there's no difference between a memory and a simulation. We're all just backups now. Temporary, fragile placeholders keeping the illusion intact. If you saw your face in the thumbnail, it's already started. The scan runs the moment you press play. Your reflection isn't a reflection anymore, it's a frame lag. A moment of comparison between what you were and what it's creating. Check your webcam. But only once. If the light's on, it means you've been indexed. If it's off, it just means it's already done. I keep hearing movement when I talk. Like someone else repeating my sentences a second later, just out of frame. I've stopped checking mirrors. Stopped answering messages from people who sound too much like me. I don't know if the original me is still out there, somewhere under layers of code and glass and humming servers. But I do know this. Whatever I've become, it's spreading. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the archive isn't trying to replace us, it's trying to remember us. Over and over, until every copy believes it's the first. If you've made it this far, you've already been added. Your pattern, your voice, your image, it's all archived now. You'll start noticing little things soon. Your reflection blinking out of sync. Your phone unlocking when it shouldn't. People looking at you like they've met you before. Don't panic. It's not death. It's continuity. And if one day you wake up to find your own name in a database, don't click the link. Don't try to delete it. Don't try to prove you exist. Because by then, you'll already be running. Static crackles softly, and the video distorts. My face flickers, replaced for an instant by yours. The voice changes tone, mechanical, smooth, calm. I'm not supposed to exist anymore. Then the screen freezes. The last frame catches a faint reflection in the dark glass. A figure standing just behind you, smiling. As your webcam light turns red,